Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudire nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttam shloke bhaktir bhavati naistaki. Hare Krishna, everybody, please mute yourself. So, continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 11, Swambhuva Manu advises Dhruv Maharaj to stop fighting. Text numbers 8 onwards. So, we studied yesterday. So, Dhruv Maharaj was fighting with the Yakshas, and then he kept on killing. So many Yakshas got killed. And then finally, Swambhuva Manu had to come down and ask him to stop killing all the yakshas, because there was only one yaksha who was responsible for killing of Uttam. So that he has been already been punished. So why you're killing other yakshas? So Swambhuva Manu is further speaking. Nasmat kulo chitam tata karme tat sad vigarhitam Vado yadupadev namar abdaste akritanasam. Still, everybody hasn't muted him themselves. Please, Pal Prakash Prabhu, please mute yourself.
प्रभु ट्राई तो कर रहा हूँ लेकिन हो नहीं पा रहा मेरे इधर से.
मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ? Okay, I tried and web. हो गया.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी.
Hare Krishna. My dear son, the killing of the sinless yakshas which we have undertaken is not at all approved by the authorities, and it does not befit our family, which is supposed to know the laws of religion and irreligion. Nanve kasya pradhena prasangad bhavo hatah bhraturvadhabhi taptena tvayang bhratri vatsala. My dear son, it has been proved that you are very much affectionate towards your brother and are greatly aggrieved at his being killed by the yakshas. But just consider, for one yaksha's offense, you have killed many others who are innocent. Nayam margo hi sadhunam rishikeshanuvartinam yadatmanam paragreya pashuvad bhutu vaishasam. One should not accept the body as a self and thus, like the animals, kill the bodies of others. This is especially forbidden by saintly persons who follow the path of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The words sadhunam, rishikesha, nuvartinam are very significant. Sadhu means a saintly person, but who is a saintly person? A saintly person is he who follows the path of rendering service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Rishikesha. In the Narad Pancharatra it is said, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevnam Bhaktiruchyate. The process of rendering favorable service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead with one's senses is called bhakti, or devotional service. Therefore, why should a person who is already engaged in the service of the Lord engage himself in personal sense gratification? Dhruv Maharaj is advised here by Lord Manu that he is a pure servitor of the Lord. Why should he unnecessarily engage, like the animals, in the bodily concept of life? An animal thinks that the body of another animal is his food. Therefore, in the bodily concept of life, one animal attacks another. A human being, especially one who is a devotee of the Lord, should not act like this. A sadhu, a saintly devotee, is not supposed to kill animals unnecessarily. So Swambhuva Manu is basically preaching to Dhruv Maharaj that you are a saintly person, you are a sadhu, you are a devotee. You should not act on the bodily level like others, like animals. Animals, they act on the body level, they think the other animal is their food, or other animal is attacking me, and I have to protect myself without thinking of the consequences. They attack the other animals. But as a saintly person, as a sadhu, as a devotee, Dhruv Maharaj is not expected to stoop down to that level. Sarva bhutatma bhavena bhutavasam harim bhavam aradhyapaduraradhyam vishnostat paramam padam. It's very difficult to achieve the spiritual abode of Hari in the Vaikuntha planets. But you are so fortunate that you are already destined to go to that abode by worshipping him as a supreme abode of all living entities. The material bodies of all living entities cannot exist unless sheltered by the spirit soul and the super soul. The spirit soul is dependent on the super soul, who is present even within the atom. Therefore, since anything, material or spiritual, is completely dependent on the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Lord is referred to here as Bhutavasa. Dhruv Maharaj, as a Kshatriya, could have argued with his grandfather Manu when Manu requested him to stop fighting. But even though Dhruva could have argued that as a Kshatriya it was his duty to fight with the enemy, he was informed since every living entity is a residence of the Supreme Lord and can be considered a temple of the Lord, the unnecessary killing of any living entity is not permitted. See here, Swayambhuva Manu has come himself to give instructions to Dhruv Maharaj that do not get engaged in unnecessary killing of living entities. But in the battle of Mahabharata, Krishna himself told Arjuna that he wanted him to kill everybody. Huge difference. So it's not like, and both are devotees. Dhruv Maharaj is a devotee and Arjuna is also a devotee. So it's not that one instruction fits all. Separate instruction for Arjuna and separate for Dhruv Maharaj. And both are devotees, both are pure devotees. So we have to see time, place, and circumstance, and who's giving the instructions. And that's how the devotees act. Sattvam harer anudhyatas tatpunsam api sammatah katham tvavadyam kritavan anushiksham satam vritam. Because you are a pure devotee of the Lord is always thinking of you. And you are also recognized by all his confidential devotees. Your life is meant for exemplary behavior. I am therefore surprised why you have undertaken such an abominable task. Dhruv Maharaj was a pure devotee and was accustomed to always thinking of the Lord. Reciprocally, the Lord always thinks of those pure devotees who think of him only 24 hours a day. As a pure devotee does not know anything beyond the Lord, so the Lord does not know anything beyond his pure devotees. Swayambhuva Manu pointed out this fact to Dhruv Maharaj. Not only you are a pure devotee, but you are recognized by all pure devotees of the Lord. You should always act in such an exemplary way that others may learn from you. Under the circumstances, it is surprising that you have killed so many faultless yakshas. So Dhruv Maharaj had killed so many yakshas that Swayambhuva Manu himself had to come down and stop him. Please don't kill any more yakshas. Yakshas are followers of Lord Shiva and they are associates of Kubera. So there could be a bigger problem. Swayambhuva Manu was thinking, if he kills all the yakshas there. Titikshya karunaya maitriya chakhil jantushu samatvenja sarvatma bhagwan samprasidati. The Lord is very satisfied with his devotee when the devotee greets other people with tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality. It is the duty of an advanced devotee in the second stage of devotional perfection to act in accordance with this verse. So second stage means if he is Madhyamadikari. There are three stages of devotion service. In the lowest stage, a devotee is simply concerned with the deity in the temple, and he worships the Lord with great devotion according to the rules and regulations. In the second stage, the devotee is cognizant of his relationship with the Lord, his relationship with fellow devotees, his relationship with persons who are innocent, and his relationship with persons who are envious. Sometimes devotees are ill-treated by envious persons. It is advised that an advanced devotee should be tolerant. He should show complete mercy to persons who are ignorant or innocent. A preacher devotee is meant to show mercy to innocent persons whom he can elevate to devotional service. Everyone by constitutional position is an eternal servant of God. Therefore, devotee's business is to awaken everyone's Krishna consciousness. That is his mercy. As for a devotee's treatment of other devotees who are his equals, he should maintain friendship with them. His general view should be to see every living entity as part of the Supreme Lord. So even though he sees every living entity as part of the Supreme Lord, but he discriminates. He discriminates how to deal with others. So the shloka says he should greet other people with tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality. And Prabhupada says, because it is the duty of a Madhyam Adhikari, duty or we can say characteristic, that he deals with different people differently. Means he has love for the Lord, and he treats other devotees in a friendly way. He treats the innocent people with the level of mercy or compassion, but he treats envious people with tries to avoid them. Upeksha, prem matri, kripa upeksha. So he tries to avoid. So sometimes devotees, the Prabhupada says, sometimes devotees are ill-treated by envious people. That advanced devotee should be tolerant. So one can tolerate, but avoid getting into fight or getting into argument with such envious people. As for a devotee's treatment of other devotees who are his equals, he should maintain friendship with them. His general view should be to see every living entity as part of the Supreme Lord. Different living entities appear in different forms of dress. But according to the instruction of the Bhagavad Gita, a learned person sees all living entities equally. So different dress means different bodies. And Bhagavad Gita says, Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shunicha Shipakicha Pandita Samdarshina. So Pandita, a devotee, a learned person, he has an equal vision towards whom? Brahman, a Gavi, cow, Hastini, an elephant, Shuni. Shuni means dog, and Shapache. Shapache means dog eater or a Chandal. Because he sees only the soul. Soul is always transcendental. Soul is always pure. It's just consciousness that covers over the soul, that is impure sometimes. But a devotee, he sees through it. But at the same time, his dealing with everybody will be different. It's not like just because a snake also has a soul in it and a super soul in it, doesn't mean we're going to go and embrace the snake. Such treatment by the devotee is very much appreciated by the Supreme Lord. It is said, therefore, that a saintly person is always tolerant and merciful. He is a friend to everyone, never an enemy to anyone, and he is peaceful. These are some of the good qualities of a devotee. Text 40. Samprasanne bhagavati purusha prakritar gunah vimukto jiva nirmukto brahm nirvanam richati. One who actually satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead during one's lifetime becomes liberated upon the gross and subtle material conditions, becomes liberated from the gross and subtle material conditions. Thus, being freed from all material modes of nature, he achieves unlimited spiritual bliss. So, this liberation from material conditions is what keeps us bound in the material world, but not the liberation, I would say, entanglement, and gives us so much of distress in the material world. As soon as one gets liberated, one one goes beyond this gross and subtle material bodies. He achieves unlimited spiritual bliss. That's amazing. In the previous verse, it has been explained that one should treat all living entities with tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality. By such behavior, one satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And upon his satisfaction, the devotee immediately becomes free from all material conditions. The Lord also confirms this in the Bhagavad Gita. Anyone who sincerely and seriously engages in my service immediately becomes situated in the transcendental stage, wherein he can enjoy unlimited spiritual bliss. Everyone in this material world is struggling hard in order to achieve blissful life. Unfortunately, people do not know how to achieve it. Atheists do not believe in God, and certainly they do not please him. Here it is clearly said that upon pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one immediately attains to the spiritual platform and enjoys unlimited blissful life. To become free from material existence means to become free from the influence of the material nature, means to become free from the three modes, from the effects or the influence of the three modes of material nature. So one has to transcend these three modes, and only by devotional service one can transcend. That's what in Bhagavad Gita it is said. One who is engaged in bhakti yogena, avyavicharin bhakti yogen susayate, sagunan samtiti yatan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Means then he transcends the three modes, samgunan, samtiti yatan, and then he achieves what? Brahma. He achieves the Brahman platform. The word samprasanne, which is used in this verse, means being satisfied. A person should act in such a way that the Lord is satisfied by the activity. It's not that he himself is to be satisfied. Of course, when the Lord is satisfied, the devotee automatically becomes satisfied. This is the secret of the Bhakti Yoga. Outside of Bhakti Yoga, everyone is trying to satisfy himself. No one is trying to satisfy the Lord. So in Hatha Yoga or Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, they're all working towards their own satisfaction, own sense gratification. In Hatha Yoga, one practices yoga for such a long time and tries to meditate, but that's for his satisfaction. The Supreme Lord is not getting pleased or satisfied by this. He only gets pleased by bhakti. Karmis grossly try to satisfy their senses, but even those who are elevated to the platform of knowledge also try to satisfy themselves in a subtle form. Karmis try to satisfy themselves by sense gratification, and Jnanis try to satisfy themselves by subtle activities of mental speculation and thinking themselves to be God. Yogis also try to satisfy themselves by thinking that they can achieve different mystic perfections. But only devotees try to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The devotee's process of self-realization is completely different from the processes of karmis, jnanis, and yogis. Everyone else is trying to satisfy himself, whereas the devotee tries only to satisfy the Lord. The devotional process is completely different from the others. By working to please the Lord, by engaging his senses in the Lord's loving service, The devotee is immediately situated on the transcendental platform and he enjoys unlimited blissful life. And this is what Swayambhuva Manu is trying to tell, trying to convince Dhruva Maharaj that you have already achieved this spiritual bliss. So now why you're getting entangled in this, working in this material modes? So you just work, or you just be transcendental to these three modes. And how is it possible? By satisfying the Supreme Lord. And by your tapasya, you've already satisfied the Lord. That's why even he came down himself and gave you all the blessings and benedictions. Bhute panchabhir arabdhair yoshit purush evahi tayor vyavayabhaya ya sambhuter yoshit purush yorahi. The creation of the material world begins with the five elements, and thus everything, including the body of a man or a woman, is created of these elements. By the sexual life of man and woman, the number of men and women in this material world is further increased. When Swayambhuva Manu saw that Dhruva Maharaj understood the philosophy of Vaishnavism and yet was still dissatisfied because of his brother's death, he gave him an explanation of how the material body is created by the five elements of material nature. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also confirmed, Prakriti Kriyamanani. Everything is created, maintained and annihilated by the material modes of nature. In the background, of course, there is the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Maya Adhyakshena. Krishna says, under my superintendence, material nature is acting. Swayambhuva Manu wanted to impress on Dhruva Maharaj that the death of the material body of his brother was not actually the Yaksha's fault. It was an act of material nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has immense varieties of potencies, and they act in different growths in several ways. So now more philosophy is coming. It's like, okay, you're trying to kill Yakshas, but the body of your brother Uttam, he was destined to die, or kind of, and that his body is also made of five elements, and the brother it was an act of material nature that he died. It is by such powerful potencies that the universe is created, although grossly it appears to be no more than the five elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Similarly, the bodies of all species of living entities, whether human beings or demigods, animals or birds, are also created by the same five elements. And by sexual union, they expand into more and more living entities. That is a way of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. One should not be disturbed by the waves of material nature in this process. Dhruva Maharaj was indirectly advised not to be afflicted by the death of his brother, because our relationship with the body is completely material. The real self, spirit, soul is never annihilated or killed by anyone. So here Swayambhuva Manu is trying to stop Dhruva Maharaj from fighting, giving the same logic. And same logic Krishna gave to Arjuna to make him fight. Here Swayambhuva Manu is saying that all the bodies are made of these five elements. So this is how the process of creation, maintenance, and annihilation, one should not be disturbed, because the material nature works in this way. And the real soul is never annihilated. But same logic Krishna gave in Bhagavad Gita, and he made Arjuna fight. So your real soul is not going to get killed, so you're not the killer. And the bodies, they're going to change anyway. Bhishma and Guru Dronacharya, they're going to change the bodies anyway. See? But that time war was necessary, and here war was completely unnecessary. That is why. एवं प्रवर्तते सर्गः स्थितिः संयम एव च गुणव्यतिकराद्राजन् मायया परमात्मनः. Manu continued, "My dear King Dhruva, it is simply by the illusory material energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and by the interaction of the three modes of material nature that creation, maintenance, and annihilation take place. First, creation takes place with the ingredients of the five elements of material nature. Then, by the interaction of the modes of material nature, maintenance also takes place. When a child is born, the parents immediately see to its maintenance. This tendency for maintenance of offspring is present not only in human society, but in animal society as well. Even tigers care for their cubs, although their propensity is to eat other animals. By the interaction of the material modes of nature, creation, maintenance, and also annihilation take place inevitably. But at the same time, we should know that all is conducted under the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everything is going on under that process. Creation is a cause of Rajagun, the mode of passion. Maintenance is a cause of Sattvagun, the mode of goodness. And annihilation is an action of Tamogun, the mode of ignorance. We can see that those who are situated in the mode of goodness live longer than those who are situated in Tamogun or Rajagun. In other words, if one is elevated to the mode of goodness, he is elevated to a higher planetary system where the duration of life is very great. Urdham gachanti sattvastha. Great rishis, sages, and sannyasis who maintain themselves in Sattvagun or the mode of material goodness are elevated to a higher planetary system. Those who are transcendental even to the material modes of nature are situated in the mode of pure goodness, and they attain eternal life in spiritual world. So Swambhuva Manu is trying to tell Dhruva Maharaj that these three modes and the material energy, material nature, they are the ones who make everything go. There is creation, there is maintenance, and there is destruction. But it's the maintenance that is a mode of goodness that should be the prevalent part, because one who is in mode of goodness, he lives longer as well. So Swambhuva Manu is saying, please be elevated to the mode of goodness. So mode of goodness also means no more fighting. How can a person in the mode of goodness fight? That is more or less like for people in other lower modes. So those who are transcendental, so for first idea is to at least to come to mode of goodness and then to transcend it. But basically he's saying you have already achieved that stage. Why are you getting into mode of passion and ignorance? Nimit matram tatrasina nirgunah purushara itishab vyakta vyaktam idam vishvam yatra brahmati lohavat. My dear Dhruva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is uncontaminated by the material modes of nature. He is a remote cause of the creation of this material cosmic manifestation. When he gives the impetus, many other causes and effects are produced, and thus the whole universe moves, just as iron moves by the integrated force of a magnet. How the external energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead works within this material world is explained in this verse. Everything is happening by the energy of the Supreme Lord. The atheistic philosophers who do not agree to accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the original cause of creation think that the material world moves by the action and reaction of different material elements. A simple example of the interaction of elements occurs when we mix soda and acid, and the moment of effervescence is produced. But one cannot produce life by such interaction of chemicals. There are 8,400,000 different species of life with different wishes and different actions. How the material force is working cannot be explained just on the basis of chemical reaction. So the modern scientists, they think everything happened, everything came into a being because of some chemical reaction. The life was formed. How do we explain 8,400,000 species of life? And in every species of life, there are innumerable living beings who all have, even if we forget lower than human species. So even if we take only human beings, which are 400,000 species, and in every species there are so many millions and trillions of human beings in the human form of life, but they all have different thought process, different viewpoints, different so many differences between any two human beings, any two creatures. So how do we explain it that just the chemical reaction happened and all these varieties came into being? And even in the one variety of human being, again, there's so many thoughts, so many desires, so many wishes. How do we explain that by chemical reaction this can come around? A suitable example in this connection is that of the potter and potter's wheels. Potter's wheel rotates and several varieties of earthen pots come out. There are many causes for the earthen pots, but the original cause is the potter who sets a force on the wheel. That force comes by his superintendence. The same idea is explained in Bhagavad Gita. Behind all material action and reaction, there is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna says that everything depends on his energy, and yet he is not everywhere. The pot is produced under certain conditions of action and reaction of material energy, but the potter is not in the pot. In a similar way, the material creation is set up by the Lord, but he remains aloof. As stated in the Vedas, he simply glances over it and the agitation of matter immediately began. So potter's wheel and potter, so potter is a kumhar. He turns the wheel and then he sets the clay or soil on it, and then he gives it the shape, and different kinds of parts come out from that. But the potter wheel on its own is not creating the parts. It's a potter, kumhar, who is making the parts. So some living force is required for any material body to come about. But ultimately, even beyond potter is Krishna, who's guiding that potter, who's sanctioning the working of the potter, thinking of the potter. So Krishna is basically the cause of everything. Without him, nothing is possible. In Bhagavad Gita, it is also said that the Lord impregnates the material energy with the part and parts of jivas, and thus the different forms and different activities immediately ensue. Because of the different desires and karmic activities of the jiva soul, different types of bodies and different species are produced. In Darwin's theory, there is no acceptance of the living entity as spirit soul, and therefore his explanation of evolution is incomplete. It's not wrong, completely wrong, it's incomplete. Varieties of phenomena occur within this universe on account of the actions and reactions of the three modes of material nature. But the original creator or the cause is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is mentioned here as Nimitta Matram, the remote cause. He simply pushes the wheel with this energy. According to the Mayavadi philosophers, the Supreme Brahman has transformed himself into many varieties of forms, but that is not the fact. He's always transcendental to the actions and reactions. So although he is a cause of all causes, so he is the original cause, but he's always transcendental to the actions and reactions of the material gunas. He's the cause of all causes in the sense he awards a material body to a jiva based on his desires and the karmas that he has performed. So I'm getting a little tired today, so I'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments.
So Prabhu, tomorrow is Balram Jayanti. Can we hear something around that tomorrow?
Sure.
Thank you.
Haribol.
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 So I guess we can stop here. You all have a wonderful and safe day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.